It's like running off the plate.
Yeah, I have never seen that much juice come out of a pork chop and be so tender to be that thick. Folks, you want to check this video out because this is a great way to cook pork and a great sauce to go on top of it. Hey, thank y'all for stopping by Under the Barn. And you know, I'm all about always trying to find the best cut of meat that I can cook with. Because when you start with something that's best and then you cook it right and you season it right, it's just going to get better. Today I am so excited because I got me some double bone-in center cut pork chops. I do love me a pork chop, especially when you cook them right. Get all that flavor, all that juiciness, but we're looking for that marbling in pork too. You know, a lot of people, they think, oh, if we're talking about marbling, we're only talking about beef. No, we're not. We're talking about pork. And I want you to look at this pretty feller here that has come all the way over here. Look at that. I mean, when you cook this, folks, it's been trimmed well. There's marbling throughout this pork chop. That right there is a meal all in itself. I like to team up with things that I know align with me and what I'm doing and what I'm after. It's like hooking up a good team to a wagon. I want to really thank the folks at Porter Road for sponsoring this video because they have such a great product. When you look at these, I mean, you get back and you look at them, make you want to do the factor. You know, these are free-ranging animals out there that get to root around in the dirt and get to graze on good things, but also good fresh water. You know, that's what it takes if you're going to get premium meat to your table and you're going to be proud of it for what you got. But then you've got to have some skilled butchers as well. And hey, they'll ship it right to you. Comes greatly packed. Mine was froze still cold when it got here. We go up here to our little local grocery store and sure I can get a pork chop, but I may not can find something to this magnitude. You're going to see cuts of pork that I didn't even ever have before. You're going to get a 15% discount on your first order. Be sure and check out that link below. But I think we need to go ahead and season these. Now, one line. We're going to cut it right in half. I rolled it around on that cutting board just a little, just to get it to where that juice would come out. And it don't take very much. We're going to get these, rub it in royal. And this one weighed about 1 pound and 8 ounces, and this one was about 1 pound and 4 ounces. Now, this is a big old pork chop. So we're going to make sure that we try to get this seasoning to penetrate plumb down there through it, especially when you have something this thick. And how do you do that is you got to get it really seasoned well.
Would you do this also just on a regular pork chop?
Yeah, if I'm going to cook a pork chop or I'm going to cook a steak, it's always probably going to have some lime juice because it acts as a natural tenderizer to break down connective tissue, which is going to make the meat more tender. You know, you've got to have a lot of seasoning to get down through there. So we're going to start out with our original, and we're going to sprinkle from way up on high and bless the Lord. And I mean, it is a great day, folks. There's no wind blowing just yet. So that is pretty rare for us in Oklahoma. So get her seasoned well on this side. Then we're going to just flip her right over. And remember, there are some big old edges on this pork. Give him a little rub right here on top. Now I'm going to go back with our red rub just to season the outside edges.
So you don't have to lime juice the edges?
No, We're wanting that fat to render down and give us some flavor, but it's also going to keep stuff a little juicier for us. You know, the reason that I like to use this rib rub on the outside, especially on some fat source like this, is it's going to help render that down, but it's got a little brown sugar in it that's going to help that caramelization, and we're going to get that really good crust on that fat. So we got them well seasoned.
Would you put straight brown sugar on it? Could you do that on the edges? Would that help or no?
You could put regular brown sugar on there. I think if you get maybe too much, you may get a little...
too sweet?
Little burnt on the edges because sugar does burn easier than anything else. Now, if you want to go to the trouble, and these we're not going to do, take you some little pieces of tin foil, wrap around these bones. You can keep that nice and bright and white for serving. Me, it makes me no difference. I'm not going to mess with it. Now, we have seasoned these. They come out of the ice box. And we're going to let them set about probably 30 to 40 minutes to sort of let that temperature come up. That way we'll get a more even cook and a faster cook when we go to put them on the grill. Well, we have preheated the grill we have, and we're cooking indirect. Remember, indirect means all the fire is on this end, there's nothing on this end. And we ain't got a whole lot in there. Started off with some good hardwood lump coal, but you can see how that seasoning has changed a little. It's all sort of soaked in there a little, and that's what we're after. So we're gonna put them right down here on the fur end, furthest away from the fire that we can be, and we're gonna give them a little smoke bath to start out with. Now, when you're cooking pork or beef or anything like that, I like to pair it with a fruit wood. And especially for pork, I love to use me some apple. I got 2 chunks, they ain't soaked. I'm just gonna drop them right in there. We're gonna let them cook. I'm thinking it's probably gonna be 25 to 30 minutes maybe on this end. Halfway in between that process, we will flip them over. We wanna get that internal temperature to about 130 to 135 because we'll finish them and give them some really good color over a hot fire. Bring them to about 140. We'll let them rest till about 145, and then guess what? I ain't even talking to y'all. I'm just gonna eat them after that because that's what I'm after. You know, with any large cut of meat like this, big old steak or these pork chops, I love to cook it indirect because you're letting that meat come gradually warming before we place it on the fire. This way we're going to get a more even cook, but we're going to get some flavor that smoke's going to bring. You know, I told you Porter Road had a lot of other cuts too, so I got to looking and I ordered some stuff that I hadn't seen before. Pork brisket. Now it comes right off this brisket like it would on any place you'd find a brisket. I've never seen one. Pork wings, and their jowl meat is totally different than what I ever seen in the store. It's cleaned off. It looks like, hey, this would make some great stuff. Leave me a comment down there below with how maybe you would fix them. What would you do to them to create a recipe? Leave me a comment because I'd sure like to know because I'd like to try them out. You know what I really like to enhance the great flavor of pork is a great sauce to go with it. And we come up with this a couple of years ago, and me and Shan tried to put it on every pork chop we got. And that is just some minced garlic, some fig preserves, and some Worcestershire sauce. We'll end up glazing them with it a little right there at the end, but also reserve some for serving. If you don't have you some fig preserves at your local grocery store, get you some peach preserves, some apricot preserves. Be a little more careful. If your fruit is getting sweeter and sweeter, you're going to have to add a little more Worcestershire to sort of tame that down because we don't want that sweet, overwhelming taste. We just want to blend these flavors really well. Reach that magical temperature we have of about 125, 130, and that's sort of where I want to be because we're going to kiss them with some fire. Let me raise this fire up here on this Legacy. Get her up here pretty close. Find some tongs. This side has been down already, so we're going to turn them over to this side. I like to hear that sizzle. This one here won't take as long. He's a smaller cut there by about 4 ounces, so we're going to let them go about probably 5 minutes. Flip them, then we'll baste that top side on each one of them. Check that temperature, we want to be about 138. Then we're going to move them over here, put them on the little cutting board, tin them, and we get ready to serve them. We'll give them a little more color with some more basting. See how easy that knife just sort of laid down through there? I mean, that's tenderness to perfection. And I'm talking about some juiciness too. I mean, look, there is some juice right there. This is what I call, bye. I'm gonna go ahead and eat, Shan. This is it. You seen how that knife just glided through there so easy, and there's so much juiciness in this pork chop. That's one thing, when you bring it over here and you tin it, sure, you're letting that temperature come up to what you want, which is 145, but also it reserves some of that juiciness that's in that meat, sort of lets it get back in there. I have a lot of participants here right here handy, so I guess we'll just go ahead. In the Beagle's honor, we're gonna have a little pork today. Lou, where you at, Lou? I can't get you down there. There you go. Now it's my turn.
Is it as tender as it looks?
It is so tender. I mean, you would have thought that we slow cooked this in a crock pot to get it this tender. I'm talking you folks, it's a great piece of meat, but also the tenderness and the way that we cooked it. The fig sauce is not overpowering, but it adds just the right in that apple smoke wood that went with it. Maybe we want to do the pork chop dance. Woo. That is some fine dining. If I was cooking these on a ranch, I'm going to feed a bunch of cowboys tonight. One of my favorite side dishes that I'd have with it would be hominy and green chili casserole. It's really simple, it is. You just take them cans of hominy, drain the juice off of them, pour them in there. You've browned you up some bacon and some onion together. We're going to mix that back in there, add some sour cream, some green chili, stir all that up, bake it for a while, and then cover the top with cheese. You know, even if you're not a hominy lover, we have converted so many people, but we're going to just put you a link down there where you can check out this recipe. It goes well with this pork. You will be the hero of the kitchen. You will. Be sure and check out Porter Road because they got some great products. We'd like to thank them for sponsoring this video. And how can you lose on this deal? You're getting quality meat. And folks, if you use the code CowboyKent, you're going to get 15% off your first order. So you're not losing nothing. Try these folks out. Experiment with some of them other cuts. Let me know what you think because, ooh, it is a great deal. It is. But it is with pride, honor, and privilege that I tip my hat and salute all the servicemen and women and all the veterans that have kept that old flag flying over camp. The rest of you, get on up in here quick because it's getting hot. God bless you, each and every one, and I'll see you down the double bone pork chop trail. Very hard on these Porter Road pigs. And you have a car go down the road, you have to stop. Well, we reached, phew, that was a hard word.
Well.
Uh-huh.